I'm super curious now on your process of production in the sense of like you produce these songs. Do you do all the mixing and mastering too? Do you just produce them? Or how did like what is that process? What do you have your hands on with these songs?
Yeah, I mix and master everything that I do just out of necessity. I learned out of necessity in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and I just worked really hard to try to figure out different things about it. Like I was never like the super scientific mix engineer. You know what I mean? I just almost by ear in a sense, like just figured out things that sound the way that I liked the way they sounded. I like the way that sounds. And mastering, I just had to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I've always done that. But I do like to mix the stuff that I work on. I don't take outside like mix jobs, like people send me stuff and I mix or master. I mix the stuff that I do because, every song you do is like your baby and you care about it. And
Sure.
different people, like we just talked about, different people have different styles and preferences and mixes. And so if someone puts all the faders at zero and then they start over and create their own vision for it, it just might not be what you thought it would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so I kind of mix as I go. So when I'm all done, it's like 85% of the way there. And then I just kind of spend an hour and tweak and
Mm-hmm.
fix it up or whatever. But yeah, I've just always
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mix as I go too, and it's interesting that I don't know how artists don't do that in the sense of like how do you hear what you want kind of thing? Like, how do you know where you want to go with the song without being like, oh, we need a big reverb tail going in here, swishing into this section. That like, it's like that's the creativity, and like that's also mixing. But it's like, how do you know?
Right. I mean, I guess sometimes there's like, okay, well, we know the song needs drums, bass, guitars, piano, and they just kind of throw it all in and they just know like it'll be taken care of later. But I guess if it's more of that style song, but
Yeah,
yeah, like placement and levels and EQ and effects is to me that's like the creativity of the track itself, the production.
yeah, absolutely. Looking back on like, what do you find the most important part of producing for you? Like, what is that your personal like? This is let me rephrase that in two ways. What's your favorite part of producing, this track, and then what do you think is like the most important that'll make the song really enjoyable for the listener?
My favorite part of producing is for sure building the tracks. Like I'm a piano guy, right? And so I play all the every instrument on the keyboard. Like I get to play the parts in, and that's part of the fun for me. And
Mm-hmm.
people ask sometimes. I use a lot of strings, and people are like, "Do you ever get like live strings recorded?" And like I've done it 3 times maybe in my whole career, but like it's not because well, one it's faster, and sometimes I don't have the luxury of booking out a whole string section and 2 weeks from now and then listening and it's just faster for me to do it, but it's also that'd be giving away the most fun part for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I like to play all the parts individually, so that is funnest. And then you said, oh, the most important. I mean, honestly, I think transitions and transition effects
Ooh.
are super huge. I mean, even small things like putting a crash or an impact or something at like the downbeat of the chorus or a rise up into it or a swell. Like when I'm all done with the song, I spend some time only working on transitions and
Wow, very
effects.
interesting.
Like, I mean, I do some along the way, but like
Sure.
that's kind of more of an afterthought, I guess. And sometimes I really stack stuff. And I mean, it's like, it'll be 10, 18 tracks of effects or transitions. And I do a lot of trailer music. So I use a lot of like trailer effects and sound effects. They're just my favorite thing to use. But they make a huge difference. You know what I mean? It really can change a song from feeling like a demo to like a
Mm.
fully produced song. It's like those extra added things. People call it ear candy, I guess. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or little sounds that come in to make sure like the second half of the verse, something's added and lifted. And, you don't want like the same elements in the whole song the whole time, or it's just really linear and it's not exciting or it doesn't grow or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I totally relate to that. It's actually really interesting to hear how much of a difference these transitions and everything you mentioned actually make. Even the simplest form of a transition, like cymbals, once you like add this, even
Mm.
like you kind of have a demo of a song, you add the cymbals, it's like this is a whole new song. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
obviously you take it further than that. I'm just saying that it's like that. This simple list of transitions will actually make a tremendous difference.
Oh, it changed the whole song. Completely agree.